Well, I realized recently that before I even started studying or heard even the word Tantra or Tao or any sacred sexuality practices, I actually practiced it all my life, even as a child. I always felt that whatever we do is guided by something bigger, something deeper. And of course, growing up and sensing nature, especially nature was my biggest teacher, because you could feel energy of water, of fire, of wood, of stones, of people, of places, right? And of course, you taught and conditioned by your families and society what is good, what is bad, what's acceptable, what's not. But to me, it always came down to high vibe and low vibe. I always was guiding myself through life by feeling what's energetically in alignment with me and what's not. And of course, you sometimes go to low vibe to understand that it's not your realm of creation or where you should be. And like this, I learned about energy. And when I grew up and I started dating and started having sex, I was also implementing the same idea that certain things, certain people, certain practices are high vibe and certain are low vibe. You know, also music, also films, also intentions with that. And that guided me to spirituality. I started learning about spirituality and healing, first of all. I went to India, and India was an eye-opener for me in my 20s, I would say. No, in my 30s even. It was an eye-opener where I learned Reiki and different modalities to work with energy. And even before I was studying Tantra, I would implement the same principles in my lovemaking with my partners. That sexuality and sex is not just physiological phenomena. It's a purely energetic phenomena where, you know, when people connect, especially when we're teenagers, I have a teenage daughter. I have to be so aware now how I teach her, because I missed so much when I was growing up on this realm. It was just time of, you know, trial and error, so many mistakes. That are good. Maybe she should do her mistakes too. But what I realized, when we are hormonal, right? We are having this rush of hormones, and sexuality is beautiful and natural, and it's not dogmatic for me. It was never dogmatic, even though I grew up in a very dogmatic family, very conservative family, that it's something low vibe and dirty and forbidden and shouldn't be paid attention to. I always was a very sensual, sexual being, that I would feel sexuality and sensuality in everything around me. I could be turned on by a tree or a cloud or an ocean, you know? So I was feeling all that. And I thought, how can I work with it? How can I guide it? What is this? You know, what is this I'm feeling? So I was guided naturally to first Taoist practices. So I remember 20 years ago, this book came across in Deutsch called Tao der Frau. I don't remember who the author is. And everything was like a revelation for me. Like, boom, this is exactly what I'm feeling. This is exactly what I had to know, you know. This is
download.
Yeah, I was like, I knew it already, you know, already. Yeah. I knew it. So for me, it wasn't new. Maybe in my past lives, I was a Taoist master. I don't know, a tantrika, probably. But it came naturally to me, and I started reading and studying and later practicing. And when I met Jason, we started teaching it. So it's a long journey, and Tantra, I will talk later about Tantra and Tantric sexuality. These are two different things. But I would say I started with Tantric and Taoist sexuality first, because this is a big part of our lives, sexuality, and we anyway doing it, and we anyway loving it, and it's anyway a huge driving force in our life, right? So how can we make it more spiritual? That was my goal.
Great. Can you maybe tell me what you understand about spirituality? Because spirituality, everyone has another a condition what this word means. Maybe you can describe me quickly what you understand under spirituality.
For me, it's simple. It's connection with the spirit.
Yeah, that's great. Great.
Anything I do, all the practices I choose, they either connect or disconnect me with.
Yeah.
And anyway, you cannot be disconnected with the spirit. You're breathing, so you're already spiritual by nature. But sometimes we're
losing connection,
lost in our minds.
Yeah,
we're lost in our minds and in our egos and in our thoughts of who we are and what life is. So for me, spirituality and spiritual practices are intended to bring us back into the realization of who we truly are.